Hey guys, it's Siri and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing great. Thank you for clicking into my video today. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 15 things you need to know before you visit Vietnam in 2025. But yeah, without long talking, let's just jump right straight into the 15 things you need to know before you visit Vietnam in 2025. Okay, first things first is visa. Yes. Some nationalities do require visas to visit Vietnam. You can get the e-visa. It's very easy to get. So you can get the 3-month visa, multiple entry, or you can get the 1-month visa, single or multiple entry, depending on how long you plan to stay in the country. I'm going to put the list of all the countries that are visa exempt, because some countries you are eligible to stay for 45 days without a visa, while some other countries you have to have a visa to visit. I want to say, unfortunately, for a lot of African countries and some other countries right now, you're not eligible for e-visas. So if you're amongst the country that are not eligible for e-visa right now, if you want to come to Vietnam, you have to go to the Vietnamese embassy in your country to physically apply. You cannot apply online. I know, I really hope this year they change the rule and they make it open again for everyone like they were doing before. But yeah, you do need a visa. It's very easy. I'm going to put the website, the link to the website in the description box to do the visa application. You can easily do it yourself, and in about 4 to 5 days, sometimes it may take up to 7 days if you have a little bit of a delay. Your visa will be granted if you have no issues, like if you filled all the form correctly. Sometimes you might get a return back. They say they will ask you to do some amendments to like your application if there are some mistakes, but yeah, it's a very easy process to do. So yeah, first things first, if you want to visit Vietnam, you have to check if you need a visa or if you don't need a visa. Okay, the second thing you need to know before you visit Vietnam is the weather. You have to plan your trip to have good weather. What is the best time of the year to visit Vietnam? So if you're coming to northern Vietnam, so you want to visit Hanoi, Ninh Binh, Sapa, Cat Ba, just northern Vietnam in general, I would say if you're someone who doesn't like hot weather, you don't like the humidity, then from end of October till like end of March, end of February, early March is a good time for you, because around this time the weather is way cooler, especially December, January. It's very cool. You can wear light sweater. I mean, I'm filming this in December, so I have a light sweater on. You can wear light sweater when you're walking around and doing all your touristy stuff. You're not sweating. The only downsides to this time of the year is the weather is always overcast, so not a lot of sunshine. So if that doesn't bother you at all, if having overcast weather doesn't bother you and there's not a lot of blue skies, then definitely end of October to early March is a good time for you to come. If you don't mind sweating while you're walking around and doing your touristy stuff, then from end of March till like October, perfect time. It's hot. Blue skies though, like really amazing blue skies. Your pictures would bang during that time of the year. However, it's very hot, and also that is also around the time for rainy season, especially May, June, July, August. It's a little bit of rainfall around this time of the year for northern Vietnam. Now if you want to go to places like Hoi An, Da Nang, Ho Chi Minh City, all year round is tropical, it's hot. They don't have winter weather, like cooler months like we have here in the north. I live in Hanoi, like we have here in the north. It's summer weather all year round, so you have blue skies and sunny weather. However, around this time of the year, from December to like early March, it's rainy season in places like Da Nang and Hoi An and Ho Chi Minh, so you should take note of that. And it's really like heavy rain right now. It's actually like flooding in Ho Chi Minh as I'm filming this video. Today is the 29th of December, so yeah, keep that in mind for your activities and planning your trip, you know, when you want to visit Vietnam. Okay, third thing we're going to be talking about is must-have apps when you're coming to Vietnam. So the first one, without a shadow of a doubt, is Grab. So Grab is the app you can use to book transportation. You can book food delivery to your hotel or your accommodation, wherever you're staying, at any time of the day or any time of the night on Grab. So you definitely need Grab app, and I 100% believe you really do not need a SIM card for Grab. I'm going to confirm this and put on the screen. Like, you don't need a Vietnamese SIM, but you might as well get one if you're coming anyways. So yeah, you need Grab. Another app that you would need, it's like Grab too, it's called BE. It's on the Google App Store, Google Play Store, and Android iOS as well. The thing about B is cheaper than Grab, so I prefer B. I use B a lot. I live here. I prefer to use B a lot because B is cheaper and I just like them more. They have more discounts and offers on their app than Grab. But yeah, B and Grab, those are two apps you would need to move around in all the major cities like Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, Da Nang. These apps all work there. Even in Hoi An, these two apps I mentioned work there as well. Also, if you want to book, if you want to travel within the country, so obviously you can go by plane. So if you want to move from Hanoi to Da Nang, you can travel by air, or from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh, you know, you can travel by air. But if you want to travel by road, I book normally. When I travel by road, I book on this website called Vexer. I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm going to put the link in the description box. VEXERE, Vexer. I don't know. That's usually where I book, but I know there's Want to Go Asia, which is also very popular. A lot of travelers book on Want to Go Asia. I personally have never used Want to Go Asia. I've always used Vexer, and every time it hasn't failed me, so that's why I'm recommending that to you guys as well. But yeah, you can check those two out. So for transportation, B within the city, B app or Grab. And if you want to travel within the country, you can book a plane, or you can use the booking apps online. And I'm pretty sure you can also book train rides on Want to Go Asia and also Vexer if you want to travel by train, or you can just walk into the train stations and book the train yourself. So yeah, that is for transportation, ordering food, and moving around the city. And it goes without a shadow of the doubt that says moving around Vietnam, you can either book either a car or you can book a motorbike. It depends on the kind of experience you want to have. You know, I would say experience both. I live here, so I move around with motorbikes all the time. But yeah, you can book a car ride, or you can book a motorbike ride on both B and Grab. Okay, the next thing we're going to be talking about, must know before you visit Vietnam, is healthcare. I assume if you're traveling, you would always get insurance for your health. But if you're coming here for some reason you don't have insurance, I want to say going to the hospital here, it's relatively not expensive. Obviously, for very light issues, I haven't really had to do any major surgery since I've been here, so I really cannot say for like really hefty things that would take you to the hotel, to the hospital rather. But if you're here and you're sick, maybe you have food poisoning, I don't wish that on you, or you just have something that you want to go see a doctor, I would 100% suggest you get healthcare, health insurance rather, before you come. But if you don't and you find yourself in a situation, going to the doctors here is very cheap. Before I got my job, I went to the doctors one time and I was sick, and I think I spent not even up to $50 both seeing doctors and getting medicine and everything. Now I work and I have health insurance, and that covers, it's even cheaper now. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of what the cost of going to the doctor is here. For really minor things, maybe you have a headache, or you have a stomach flu, or you have a fever, those things you're not going to pay a lot of money. You're not even going to pay up to $100 if I'm being honest. But I really cannot say if you got into an accident or something how much that would cost you. But I think 101 tip is just get insurance if you're traveling, so that would cover your cost of your trip abroad. But yeah, going to the doctors is very easy. There are lots of clinics here that are very foreigner friendly. There are lots of clinics here where the doctors speak English, or but if they don't speak English there, they have translators. I'm gonna put the name of the clinic I go to in the description box. I really love that clinic here. That's in Hanoi. I live in Hanoi, for anybody watching. The doctors there speak English, and for the doctors that don't speak English, they have translators there at the clinic, so language barrier is not going to be a problem for you. So yeah, that is it on healthcare, right? Okay, so next point is language barrier. Obviously, you're coming to Vietnam. English or whatever language you speak is not the native language here. Vietnamese is the native language, but I have to say English is the most spoken foreign language here, and it's very easy to get around. Google Translate works perfectly here, so you can always Google Translate. But if you're coming to Hanoi in like the Haute Quarter, because it's a very touristy spot, a lot of like the businesses there, they understand easy language exchange, like restaurants, or if you're buying something, very easy language exchange. You can get around with that in the Haute Quarter. If you're coming to Theo area, which is where I live, this is the foreigner part of Hanoi, so lots of the businesses here, because a lot of foreigners live here, lots of the businesses here, they speak English, or they have like workers that speak English. It's very easy. But if you're living in other part of the city, then Google Translate works 100% here. You're not going, I mean, it would always be a problem. There will always be difficulties, you know, communicating, because English is not the first language and you obviously don't speak Vietnamese as well. But Google Translate works very well, and you can get by with just Google Translate. And I imagine, I mean, I've traveled to Ho Chi Minh City since I've been here, and I've traveled to Hanoi, Hoi An and Da Nang, and with the same thing, Google Translate work perfectly well there as well. So when it comes to language barrier, yes, there is the language barrier, but it's not as much. You know, some places you go to, some places, and even in like a touristy spots, it's very hard for English, like for you to even communicate slightly in English. But here there's a little bit of that communication, and if that doesn't work, you just whip out your Google Translate and you're good to go. Okay, the next tip you should know before you visit Vietnam in 2025 is money exchange, ATM, banks, and all of that. Obviously, you're coming with your foreign currency. I would say before you come, you can exchange a little bit, maybe something to last for your very first day or your very first 2 full days here in Hanoi. I'm going to be always using Hanoi because I live Hanoi, but you get the grabs. It's for the whole country, to wherever you're going to. Just something, you know, if you want to take a taxi from the airport to your hotel, or if when you get to your hotel that day, if you're hungry and you want to eat, I would say exchange a little. If you're coming to Hanoi specifically, I would say do not exchange money at the Hanoi airport. However, go to Money Street. Money Street is close to Train Street. Money Street, their exchange rate is so low. I don't know how they themselves make money with the exchange rate that they have, but I would advise going to Money Street. You can get a little bit more value there than if you exchange at the airport in Hanoi. But like I said, yeah, just have a little bit to get you from the airport to your hotel, and then during the day after you've settled, you can go to Money Street and go change money. That is for Hanoi in general. Also, ATMs work here, so if you have like a MasterCard or a Visa card, banks like BIDV, HSBC, Hana Bank, they work here, so you can easily just use your card, go to the ATM. Obviously there will be the fees for withdrawing online or withdrawing abroad rather, but ATMs works here, and there are ATMs all over the city. There's no lack of ATMs, especially in the old quarter where you would be. There would be so many ATMs, banks. You can just walk in and do that. And also when it comes to payment, very, very important, most places would prefer cash. I would say that most places would prefer cash, so it's always nice to have cash in hand. Now you might go to some places where you can pay with your international card. However, I would just say always have cash in hand, because most places would prefer to take cash, or some places would say we don't accept foreign cards, only cash. So I would say just always have cash with you at hand when it comes to payment, restaurant, shopping, and those kind of things, unless you're going to shopping at the mall. When you go shopping at the mall, yeah, like Zara, those kind of places, yeah, they would take your card. But when you're like going to like the local shops here or the local boutiques, they might not be accepting your international card, so you might always want to have cash with you. Okay, next thing is your SIM card. I would always say get an eSIM. I discovered eSIM this year. I know I'm so late. eSIM's amazing. I went, just a little segue, I went to Malaysia this year and I used an eSIM all throughout my trip. Perfect. I don't have to think about misplacing my Vietnamese SIM, blah blah blah. Perfect. And you can also get eSIMs here with some Vietnamese airline network like Viettel, Vinaphone. So yeah, eSIMs would always be my #1 recommendation. You will get a daily amount of data that you can use on a daily basis. And yeah, or you can at the airport get a SIM card. I use Vinaphone. I like it. It works very well. Viettel is another very popular one here that you can use. To be fair, I think all the Vietnamese networks are very good. So yeah, it's very important to move around. I mean, you can get Wi-Fi in like when you go into coffee shops and all that, but when you're not always going to be in coffee shops, right? You're going to want to be moving around. So definitely 100% eSIMs. You can get eSIMs. eSIMs work here, or you can get like a physical SIM to put on your phone, and you can get that at the airport. Or you can go to the old quarter if you're coming to Hanoi, and there's lots of shops that you can buy SIMs at. Okay, another important thing when you're visiting Hanoi or when you're visiting Vietnam in general is places to stay. Now there are different kind of accommodations you can find here. You can get hotels, you can get homestays, you can get Airbnbs, depend on your budget. I would say Airbnbs and hotels are definitely on the higher side, but you can get hotels for as low as $15 to $20 a day. That's pretty cheap if you're on a budget. and Airbnb a little bit on the higher side, and it's always longer stays. And then there are homestays. Homestays are way cheaper, and then there are hostels. I cannot forget hostels. Hostels are also way cheaper. There are lots of hostels in the city. Yeah, so that is something you can check. So there's hostels, homestays, hotels, Airbnbs. All the time I've traveled within Vietnam, I've always booked on Booking.com. I have never had any problems on Booking.com. I go to the hotel and everything from what I see online and what I see in person is usually the same. I've never had any problem checking in or checking out or anything like that. So from my own personal experience, I would recommend Booking.com to you to book your stay, obviously, but do your own research. This is just from my own personal experience. But yeah, in general, accommodation is very cheap in Vietnam. You know, sometimes when you travel, your hotel is usually where the chunk of your money go. But again, this all depends on your taste. If you want high budget hotel stay, luxury, you have that here. If you have middle, you have that here. If you have really budget stays, you have that here. So I'm just trying to say there is something for everyone depending on your budget when you're traveling. So yeah, check that out. Okay, next thing is shopping. Shopping in Vietnam is insane. I literally just posted a video a couple days ago about places to shop for fashion items if you're coming to Hanoi. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out. I'm gonna put the card, I think it's here or here, I don't know on what side, but yeah, check that out if you're interested. Yeah, shopping in Vietnam is insane. If you really love shopping, then come with an empty suitcase or be ready to buy a new little carry-on suitcase on your way back home. Shopping is very cheap here as well. There are lots of malls if you want to go shopping in the mall. There are lots of markets if you want to go shopping in the markets. There are lots of boutiques, like Vietnamese owned boutiques. Shopping is so cheap. The shopping and so cheap, and the shopping scene is insane. It can be very overwhelming sometimes, especially if you're just going and you don't really have anything specific. Like if you're going to Hoi An, for example, you know the shopping in Hoi An is crazy. You can literally get tailor-made clothes in like 24 hours. That's insane. You can get custom-made boots. My favorite boots I made in Hoi An when I traveled there in 2023, and I'm still wearing it now. I've brought it out again winter 2024, and it's still going strong. So yeah, shopping in Vietnam is insane. So that is something you should know before coming. So get your money ready, get space in your bags for all the cute little things you're gonna buy while you're here. Places I can recommend in Hanoi if you want to go shopping, obviously the Haute Quarter, #1. Every weekend they have, like every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they have like the market streets, where the walking street rather, and there's like just a bunch of vendors. Those are for like little things, so like bags, scarves, shirts, shoes, everything is there. And then obviously there's like a lot of malls here in Hanoi. We have Lotte Mall, the biggest mall. There are 2 Lotte malls here. There are a lot of Vincom malls as well. So if you want to go into the malls and do your shopping, there is a lot of that, and there's lots of boutiques scattered all around the city. So shopping is great here. You're not gonna have places not to go. Also, there's the biggest Hanoi market, Dang Xuan Market. If you want to go there as well, you got that. So yeah, keep that in mind. Okay, next thing we're going to be talking about is tipping culture. I know so many people visiting from like maybe North America or Europe. You have tipping culture in your country, especially Americans. Anywho's, tipping is, there's no tipping culture here. Tipping is not compulsory like it is in America and Canada and some other places. Tipping is not compulsory. When you tip here, it's just from the goodness of your heart, right? You're not expected to tip. Your service, the person, your driver taking you to where you're going to, or your server serving you, or the person, the front desk at your hotel, is not expecting you to give a tip. The guy delivering your food from Grab is not expecting you to give a tip. It's just voluntarily. If you feel like giving a tip, then go ahead. I would say a reasonable tip, because a reasonable amount you can tip should be, I mean, obviously depend on your budget. I don't want to tell you what to tip, but personally, anything from 100K or from 50K and above is a good tip to give. So yeah, tipping is not necessary. It's not compulsory. You're not expected to, but if you want to, you should do it. And anything from 50K and above is a good tip if you want to tip. So yeah, I don't know what number we're at now, but we're going to talk about safety. Obviously, when you're traveling, safety is the one thing that comes to your mind at first. And I cannot tell you how many people messages me like on a weekly basis asking me, is Vietnam safe? You know, people don't really know much about Vietnam, or when they think about Vietnam, they think about the Vietnam War. That's what comes to their head. Vietnam is safe. For travelers, if you live here, it's very safe. There is petty theft here and there, like pickpockets, only in like the very touristy areas. I would say like in Haute Quarter, yeah, not very often, but you could have that. But besides that, nothing else. Vietnam is very safe to travel. Traveling by road is safe, traveling by air is safe. You know, nobody's gonna kidnap you if that's what you're thinking, or nobody's gonna, you know, smuggle you out of the country. No, Vietnam is an overall safe country, and I know for women especially, this is something that you think about when you travel. Is it a safe place for me? As a woman, have been living here now for 2 years, and I can say I feel very safe here living here, and I imagine traveling will be the same thing. So yeah, Vietnam is very safe overall. Just be self-conscious, just like any place you're going to. Don't leave your bags open, don't leave your valuables on the table and walk out to go do something. Just normal safety checks you would do around you, even if you're in your own home country. Yeah, but when it comes to like life-threatening safety things, absolutely not. I can say that. So yeah, Vietnam is very safe to travel to. Now I'm going to talk about food, must try food that you must try. These are just like my personal preference. I decided to add it here, just things food you should know if you want, when you're coming to Vietnam, you want to try. If you're coming to northern Vietnam, you have to try bún chả, and that's on period. I said it. Bún chả, 10 out of 10. You have to try bún chả if you're coming. It's a noodle dish. You have to try pho. Obviously, pho is the most popular Vietnamese food. You have to try bánh quanh. Those are I'm just giving you my favorite Vietnamese food you should try. These are my personal recommendations. You have to try bánh quanh. You have to try bánh xeo. There's so many good food to try. Open yourself to trying Vietnamese food. It's very tasty, very flavorful, very rich. Obviously, depending on what part of the country you go, they have different food. When I went to Ho Chi Minh City, I tried Cum Tam, so good. When I went to Hoi An, oh my god, I can't remember what it's called, a khao lao. Oh my god, I tried khao lao. It's a noodle dish, so good as well. So please open yourself to trying Vietnamese food when you come. It's part of the travel experience. So yeah, those are just some tips, some recommendations on must try foods that you must have when you visit Vietnam. And the street food too is also very, very amazing. So yeah. Okay, another must know when you visit Vietnam is the dressing culture here. Especially for women, when you travel, at least for me, I know when I travel, one thing I always research is how should a girl dress in said country. You know, Vietnam is very, very chill. You can wear anything you want to wear. I mean, be decent, like short clothes, crop tops. It's very normal to wear that here. But obviously, when you're going to places like temples or pagodas, I would recommend you wear pants. Most times if you wear short clothes, they probably won't even let you into like the temples or the pagodas. So you just wear like long clothes, like long skirt, long dresses, or pants, just for those kind of places, for religious sites. But just for walking around in general on the streets, as a girl, yes, you can wear whatever you want to wear. You can wear your short shorts or your longs pants or whatever. Nobody's gonna look at you or bat an eye or, you know, give you weird looks, because even Vietnamese girls be wearing this kind of outfits as well. So I just wanted to also throw that in the video. I think another thing I have to say relating to shopping, I'm just gonna add this as something you must know as well, is bargaining is okay here. It is okay to bargain when you go to, especially on like the street market, when you go to those places, it's very okay to bargain. Nobody's gonna give you the stink eye, unless yesterday I went out and I saw in some racks that says no bargaining. I mean, when you see no bargaining in those kind of racks, then don't bargain. But when you go to places where bargaining is allowed, free feel to bargain. Nobody's gonna give you an eye or stinky eye for bargaining. So yeah, bargaining is part of the culture here. So yeah guys, I hope you are ready to move to travel to Vietnam in 2025. If Vietnam is not part of your travel list, places you want to visit, I implore you to put that in, because Vietnam is amazing. And feel free guys to ask me any questions in the comment section below. I'm happy to read that. I'm super excited for 2025 and all the travel plans and whatnot, and I hope if and when you guys do come to Vietnam, you have an amazing time here. But yeah, I feel like I've talked a lot today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Also don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.